In your autobiography, you talk about your on and off relationship with Lauryn Hill. Tell me a little bit about how...
Oh man.
Oh,
I knew you was gonna set me up, man. I done told you, man. I thought he was my man. Go ahead, shoot. It's in the book, go ahead.
I'm not interested in the gossip necessarily. I'm just curious how a lot of the stuff that was going on backstage actually influenced the music. Because after I read that chapter, I went back and I was hearing some of the songs and I was like, oh, wait a minute, now it has a whole new context. Can you talk a little bit about how the on and off relationship actually influenced some of the songs that were on the score?
Well, I mean, the best music is always created when it's based from a factor of truth, right? And that's the only way the public can relate to it. So when you put yourself out there, you basically, it's like this is your therapy, this is your way of putting yourself out there. But it's very challenging because the songs that we always remember are either the ones that make us feel happy, the ones that make us feel sad, we're in a relationship, we need some strength, we know what to put on. And this really don't come from me. Stevie Wonder was doing it long before me. Ray Charles was doing it way before me. Prince, oh Sheila, would you love me to the morning, Sheila? You know, so there's always like these records. So I would say because of the relationship, it definitely added to a certain emotion that wouldn't be there. You know what I mean? Like inside of the score, you can listen it from beginning to end. There's an undertone that you feel going on. You can't really explain it, but your body can react to that. And I think, you know, that definitely played part of the music, definitely.
In the book, you call Lauryn your muse and creative chariot. Can you give us some insight into what that means to you?
Well, you know, when you like young, you a pimp, right? So, I mean, you think you're a pimp. You think you Snoop Dogg, right? So you have like, hey, baby, you my muse. And then you go to the next girl, hey, baby, you my muse. Hey, baby, you my muse. You my muse, right? So I just wanted to clarify the word muse real quick, you know what I mean? At the time, musically what was going on and what we shared earlier, the discovery factor of like, there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have known musically if it wasn't for that woman. It would be totally impossible. Definitely inspired me.
At what point in either the making of the score or while you guys were touring, did you start thinking that the next project was going to be your solo album?
So for me, I'm always recording music, so we never stop. And I didn't know it was going to be an album. So every time we on the road, right after the show, I go straight to the studio. The studio be in my room, the bathroom. That's just the way I am. I love to do music 24/7. And the Carnival started off in a small apartment in New York City, like 66th Street. And I was going through like a weird time because we artists go through this. I got real scared for a second. I was like, man, every week they're like, yo, another million sold, another million sold. I said, man, we about to be finished. I said, this is the end of it. We about to be some pop group. So I went in and I just wanted to create what ended up being my Picasso. Because I just wanted to paint a visual picture of how I see music in my head. And then it ended up being a Carnival, which was, and be clear, it was a hip hop undertone because the hip hop is the culture. And it was in 4 languages. And what that did was, it broke a lot of barriers. I remember when I was doing Guantanamera. And I remember a PD like, well, what station you think this gonna play on? This Spanish music, where you think you playing this at? I said, it's gonna play on your station. You know, because at the end of the day, coming from where I came from in Haiti and growing up in New York, I knew that language was important. How can I use an album to culturally bring all of us together, right? Man, I was into like Evie Queen, the start of the reggaeton movement. So I'm not, and people be like, well, where do you get this influence? If I'm from Haiti, somebody from my family from the DR, somebody from Cuba, that means I got that Roco Pollo shit in me. You know what I'm saying? It's always gonna come out like that, you know what I mean?
Did you purposely set out to kind of reinvent yourself with the Carnival, or was just something like, now I got a blank canvas, I'm just gonna, you know, put different strokes on?
Both, you know what I mean? I said, the Carnival was daring, it was challenging. There was people that was like, yo, if you put Creole on the CD, it's gonna be the death of you. There were people like, you can't mix 4 languages. How you gonna go from killing me softly one time, all of that, and now you talking about I'll be gone to November? Well, you sure? But once again, it's all in my head. You know what I'm saying? All I could do is spit it out to the world, and they'll catch it.
Let's talk about the creative process a little bit. When you write songs, is there a particular time? I know when I talked to Chris Martin, he was saying that from 11 to 3 at night, that's when like he got his inspiration. Do you have a set structure of how you create songs?
The songs come to me, like right now I can look at the public and see one person, and it just draws an energy towards me, you know what I mean? I write good songs like that. Another place I write great songs is in the shower. Like, yo, I be in the shower for hours, man. My girl think I'm doing the nasty, but I'm not, bro. I'm in the shower writing some songs. That's a good space. Another space for me to write good songs is on an airplane. Like, because you can't go nowhere. So your mind starts to think, you know? But the best music that comes to me, it comes from people. Like when I hear relationships or something someone's going through, it all goes back to my daddy church. What's the song that you can write for someone to just make them want to move? So when I did My Love's Your Love for Whitney Houston, I'll just give you an example how I write songs. So Clive Davis calls me up and he goes, Wyclef, I'm doing Whitney Houston's album. It's going to be big. Do you have a song? You know, Whitney Houston, yeah, man, I got a song. So the first thing I do, I look at Whitney, and then I just think, I believe the children are the future. And I'm like, yo, I had to sing this in high school. And we both from Jersey, and she's from the church, I'm from the church. So when I sat on the piano all by myself, it was inspired because of her. So when I'm like, you know, my love is your love, and your love is my love, I could just think of her. This is what people don't know about the song. When I got in the studio, I was like, man, because people was like, yo, it's the whole Whitney family coming in the studio. It's going to be Bobby Brown and the daughter. Everybody going to be in the studio. Can you handle that? I like, man, come on. I'm from Haiti. This one, no problem. So when I got the family in the studio, what was incredible was, if you go back and listen to the song, Bobby Brown is on background. And Whitney's daughter says, sing, mommy. So she was just a baby at the time. So in my brain, I put the entire family on side of the record. And when I originally was writing it, I was just writing it for Whitney, but when I had all of them in one place, I don't think there's no record that exists on the planet with the 3 of them as natural as that record. Like, you won't even notice it if I don't say it, you know what I mean?
You've worked with Whitney, Michael, Shakira, Santana. I mean, it's some of the biggest worldwide artists. You've also found time to work with the Cannabises of the world and the Dizzy Wrights of the world. Why is it important for you? I mean, you're not going out just to make smashes. You're kind of all over the musical spectrum. Why is that important to you?
Well, the thing is, I remember like in the beginning, the critics used to be like, oh, Wyclef Jean's gonna burn out. He doing collaborations with everybody and their mama. But I was like, I ain't doing collaborations. I'm writing these songs. Like, it's a different thing. And it's exactly what you talked about. The battle rapper is still in me. So if the battle rapper is in me, the church is in me, the Nazarene is in me, the R&B now is in me, it's like I could go from a Whitney to a Dizzy Wright. Like, I just know the pulse of the music. So it's like you could be like, Clef, who's your best battle rapper online? And I'd be like, boom, 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 boom. And this is why. It's more like, when you have a love, everyone has a fascination. So if we play Jeopardy, and everyone here playing Jeopardy, there's one topic that everyone in here just knows from the beginning to the end. And then for me, it's just music, just loving the love of music, whether if it's hip hop, R&B. You speak of that, you know, I did the tribute for Johnny Cash. So when Johnny Cash, his last tribute, he was sitting there, and I was singing Delia. It tripped a lot of people out because they're like, where does this guy know this country music? But I grew up with it, you know? Once again, just the lover of music.